Speaker on, sorry. Welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the City Council on Monday, September 26th. I now call the meeting to order at 6:31. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll, please.
Councilmember Clark.
I'm here.
Mayor Pro Tem Infante.
Here?
Councilmember Rona.
Here.
Councilmember Thomas.
Here.
Mayor Yurig. Absent.
He's absent, yeah. Councilmember Thomas, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Please stand. Place your hand over your heart and repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we don't have any proclamations, ceremonial items, or commendations this evening, and I don't believe we have any presentations either. So, public communications. Madam City Clerk, if you would read the directions for those, please.
The council welcomes your input. At this time, you may address the council on items not on the agenda and on consent. Time limit is 3 minutes. We will start with in-person public comments first.
Okay, I have 2 speaker slips. Stacy, if you would please address the council.
Hi, I'm Stacy Oddie, the Executive Director at the Wilding Museum of Art and Nature. Thank you for letting me have just a couple of minutes to talk about my concerns about the new water restrictions and penalties for businesses. I understand maybe this is getting reconsidered, and I hope so for the businesses like ours that are actual water misers as opposed to water wasters. We are a green certified business for the second time in a row. That's 5 years of being very sustainable. And as part of our mission, doing things in a highly environmentally sustainable way is just part of how we do business in all regards. We cut off our irrigation system several years ago. And basically all we have are 4 bathrooms, one of which contains a waterless men's urinal. And all of our toilets have tanks in which it's not normal water usage, it's less than average. We have 1 sink that's used a few times a day to rinse off a dish because we hate using disposable things. So trying to reduce by 20% according to 2019 is going to be virtually impossible for us to be able to do. The only thing literally I can think of is putting porta potties in our parking lot, which I don't think anyone's quite ready to see that. So that's where we just are concerned about a potential $1,000 monthly penalty for a business that's doing the very best it can and has been for many years in terms of water usage. We do own our building. We are a landlord. Lima's Pet Supply is our primary tenant. I know they have a staff bathroom, and that's it as far as historical usage. So I don't know how they would be able to reduce by 20% either. And obviously $12,000 worth of fines in a year's time would hurt either one of our businesses quite a bit. They have added dog wash stations, which I'm gonna, Paul is actually here representing Limos, and he's gonna come up and say a few words about that. But I know that they feel that it is a service to the community. I so understand that Solvang and almost every city in this state and in the West is in fairly dire straits, and it's probably going to be getting worse. But I just want to say that we have been doing our very best this whole time, and I just hope that you'll consider that for some of these businesses that are very miserly with their current water usage, not to penalize us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Stacy. Appreciate it. Mr. Paul Benedicts, I believe it is.
Good evening. My name is Paul Benedicts. I'm the general manager for Lima's Feed and Pet Supply. Mike wanted to be here personally, but was unable to attend just because of a personal matter. He couldn't reschedule and sent his apologies. A little background first on us. In October of 1999, we opened our location here in the city of Solvang. And for the 20 following years, we experienced steady and significant consistent growth and have really become a staple here in the city of Solvang. Every year we contribute to the city through event sponsorships and participation. We continue to partner with the local Humane Society and serve Solvang's pet owners in the same unique high-level service way we have for the last 50 years. When COVID hit, it hit Solvang hard, as you all know, and we suffered to the point that Mike actually considered even having to close the Solvang location permanently. 1 year after COVID started, it was decided to play a little offense instead of defense, and we invested heavily in updating and modernizing our Solvang location. In June of 2021, we started and finished that work pretty quickly, but it did include an additional 5 months of planning and preparation to put in 2 self-service dog wash stations that we have at the store now. That was done in November of last year. Over the last 10 months, our dog wash stations have really been a major contributing factor to our recovery to pre-pandemic sales and pre-pandemic customer counts. They've also grown to be a real loved service that we offer to the customers here in Solvang. And we continue to see growth now month after month because word's spreading that we have that service there at our store. So the topic obviously is water conservation and the new requirements that's being put on the city of Solvang. We've done all we can, like Stacy said. We have 1 bathroom. It's got 1 toilet and 1 sink for 3 people that are working, and that's all we do besides the dog washes that are there. We would respectfully argue that the addition of the self-serve dog washes actually helps the city of Solvang as a whole reduce water consumption. All of our tubs are, well, our use is obviously increased, but if those same customers were to bathe their animals at home, it's typically a shower attachment in a tub that runs consistently while they're bathing their pet, or a hose that's running in the yard the entire time, whereas our tubs are fitted with low-flow nozzle sprays, so it stops and starts only when they're wetting their pet or when they're rinsing off their animal. And our request is that Limos would be considered for or granted some sort of an exemption to the city's commercial fine structure. The doubling of the water bill, in addition to the fine, would raise the price of our service to our customers to really an obscene level, which would eventually lead to us having to close the dog wash stations, reduction in traffic, reduction in sales, and eventually, who knows where that could take us. Obviously, we don't want to get back to where we were with consideration to closing our store. So nobody wants to see that happen, certainly not our customers, or the city of Solvang, or the people who've been utilizing that service. So we don't want to see it either. So thank you for your time and for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anybody else in the room want to make us talk? No? Do we have anybody on Zoom that's looking to have a non-agenda item comment? No? Okay, in that case, let's move now to the city manager's report, please.
Good evening, Council. I will be fairly brief today. First off, if you can pull up the slides, would like to recognize the fact that Danish Days was a great comeback. It was great to see everybody back in town after 2 years due to COVID. So there's some photographs. I'm sure that council members will have much more positive to say about the event, but it was great to see. It was a little bit of a different program than before with some additions. You see this logo competition here, but it was definitely a successful event. The general plan update, just want to update you on the upcoming milestones that will be coming for public review. I have had a lengthy conversation with the consultants, and these are the dates that are now set forth for review of the general plan draft public review timeframe. So it will be going to the Planning Commission on November 7th, to the DRC for their comment on the community element on November 18th, and then to the council on November 28th. The housing element is also being moved forward, and the proposal is for City Council and Planning Commission, if that's acceptable, to hold a special joint session on December 5th. Now, on advance calendar for the next council meeting, you have a number of items. There is a presentation from the Waste Management, Broadbed Strategic Plan presentation. The Yule Fest special event program would be coming to council for approval and final budget review and approval. It will be reviewed by the TAC on the 6th of October. The Chamber of Commerce contract proposal subcommittee, if that's ready, could be coming back. The drought regulations proposed modifications are already being worked on by staff. The construction moratorium discussion of a policy discussion was requested by council. There's also annual AB 1600 report and contract approval for lift truck purchase, and then quarterly projects update. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Any questions by the council? No comments? Council member have any comments or requests that they'd like to make?
I appreciate the comments that Limo's made and that the Wilding Museum made. And many, many, many people in this town are dealing with the exact same thing, and everybody has their anecdotes and their situations. One that I received an email on last week was a resident has a house in upstate New York. They had 2 water leaks, and I want to commend the city and staff for this because they did send, they were penalized. There's always extenuating circumstances, and the city did a really great job that same day getting back to him and resolving that. And I made a comment at council a couple weeks ago about if there are appeals or problems with these, I don't want to call them draconian because I know we're in an emergency, but we need to be here all night long if people want to come and talk to us about this stuff and they have some issues. And I use Jim's service station as an example of how 2 years ago he did everything possible out of his own altruistic or his own conscious efforts to reduce his water intake. So I've been saying for a month, I want to go back to square one on this and work with something. I've got meetings next week with hydrologists and the former county executive in Santa Barbara, who I respect very, very much on water, and discussing moratoriums, et cetera. But the stories we're hearing tonight, 20% of the businesses and 50% of the residents have issues similar to what these residents and the people that have been talking about this for the last few weeks. So I want us to start over on this. It's out of control. I know we're in a crisis, but we've just got to rethink this. And I wouldn't have a problem bringing in a hydrologist to give us some straight answers.
I would agree.
Yeah.
But we do have this on the advanced calendar for the next city council meeting
Good.
as a subject of discussion, that and the construction moratorium, both.
Big time. Yeah, I know that's on there, yes. And also, I've heard some complaints about, somebody said we didn't advertise in LA enough about Danish Days to get that crowd up here. Did you read the article about the Carmel?
Oh,
I have comments about that.
Can we re-vote on those in lieu fees for
Yeah.
a certain drinking
Certain
establishment?
drinking establishment?
Wow,
Yeah.
that was
was not
pretty
nice.
incendiary. So
Yeah, I wanted to comment on that article that was published on the SF Gate about could this little Danish town become the next Carmel. Obviously, everybody's gonna speak about where the city should go or should not go, depending on what interests they have and what they think it's best, and obviously how their wallets are impacted. I do want to say that while we all have a vision in our heads about where Solvang should go, it is a community. There are people that are living right in downtown that are affected by visitors, and the staff does the best that they can to keep everybody happy, mitigate disruptions, and also make sure that Solvang thrives as a city destination, since this is how we make most of our revenue to provide for our residents. But not everybody's gonna get everything that they want. I can understand that somebody will make a fuss in an online article because they're angry that the street is not closed. But there's also a lot of people that are happy that the streets are open, and permanent decisions take a lot of thinking and a lot of planning, and we can just make them out of the blue. That being said, I would encourage everybody to get involved in your committees, talk to us, get involved in the planning and input that is needed for the events. And the more that we all get involved and the more input that we have, the better decisions that we can take.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, I have one comment to make, please. Pardon me, a little bit of a cold. I notice in the audience is Louise Smith, who is running for council member in District 3, and Elizabeth Rona, who is running for council member in District 4, as is our incumbent, council member Robert Clark. I bring those up because presumably all of you have received this letter from the county clerk, recorder, and assessor elections division that says there will be no polling places in this city for the votes. Everything will be mail order. So I need you to, as you talk to your constituents and those people that you're getting to vote for you, to tell them to make sure that their registration is accurate, their address is accurate and everything else. But apparently, we don't have enough people in each of the 4 districts to justify a polling location in each district. So all balloting will be done via mail, which is fine. And again, you can mail it in. There's a drop-off box in the Veterans Memorial parking lot, so you can drop your ballot in there. But I wanted to make that clear to everybody if they haven't seen one of these letters. The letter did not go to every voter. It went to every household that had a voter in it. So for instance, my wife didn't get this, but I did. And my neighbor, his wife got it, but he didn't. So I'm not sure how they made that decision of who got what, but every registered location, residence, should have received one of these letters.
Excuse me. A lot of elections going on, beyond our city elections. We're going to have regular polling places, right, for all the other?
No, not to my knowledge.
Mayor Pro Tem Infante, is that your precinct or is that every precinct? Because we should be referring questions to the county's registrar of voters rather than trying to make decisions here, because I don't know if that's precinct by precinct or if that's the city as a whole.
This letter is to inform you that your precinct has changed from having a physical polling place to being a mail ballot precinct.
Right. There are other precincts in the city other than the one that you're in.
And they're going to have polling places?
I don't know the answer to that question. I just want to make sure that we're providing correct information to the public. If it's just your precinct that is mail only, it may be that there are insufficient people in your precinct, which is not the city as a whole.
And to me, that seems very odd that you're voting for a governor and you can't go to a polling place.
Well, part of it is getting election workers to
Yeah.
staff the precincts. If they're unable to get them, then they will convert over to a mail ballot. But I don't know.
And bakeries and
I don't
hotels
have
and-
the answer to the question as to whether every precinct in Solvang is going to mail. Certainly, the one that you have received is getting a mail notice, but I don't know that to be the case in every other one. So we should probably refer any questions on that to the county registrar of voters.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense that some people in Solvang would be able to go to a polling place and the other people in Solvang wouldn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
and if I can, for some reason, I happen to still have this. Out of 1,025 votes cast for the mayor in 2018, 316 of those were in person, and 709 were mail-in. So that probably has a lot to do with that.
Did you get one of these letters?
I did not get one of those letters.
I did not either.
And I'm upset. I mean, it's my patriotic duty. I like going to my polling place. I've been doing it since 1978. And it makes me sad if I can't go to a polling place and get my little stupid sticker to put on my chest.
Well, I don't. Did you get one, Mr. Rona?
No.
No?
And Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I did a quick search on the County of Santa Barbara. There is a polling place lookup page that you can look up to find your correct polling place as to whether or not there is a physical location or not. That link is countyofsb.org/1200/voting-at-the-polls.
That's too many letters.
Maybe it's just you, Mark. They don't want you to vote in person.
Mark's the only guy that got the letter.
Well, 2 of my neighbors I know got it because I asked a couple of people if they got it. So I assumed everybody did, but apparently not.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand how that is
Anybody in
going
the
to
audience
happen.
get the letter?
You did? Well, see, and District 4 got it, and so maybe
want
it's
me to
just you.
I'm not going to get my mail-in ballot either.
Thank you very much.
We need to look into that.
Yeah, okay. Moving right along. No other public comment, no other comments for the council? All right. In this case, we have consent items. Madam City Clerk, if you'd give us a briefing on those, please.
All items listed under consent are considered and acted upon by one motion unless discussion is requested by council members.
Does anybody have any comments about the consent items?
No, but for the dollar amount, you probably want to pull it, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
The dollar amount?
for the slurry seal.
Ah. Interesting.
Maybe we can just get explanation on it.
Yeah, if we can. No, Mr. Olds, you have the floor, I think. It says let the mayor authorize it, so.
On the consent agenda, we do have the 2022 slurry seal project that we bid. You have questions that you'd like answered? I'm here to help.
Did we review this in a previous council meeting?
It was part of the CIP,
Okay.
so it is on the capital improvement program. It was funded for $475,000. The parking lot slurry was in last year's CIP. It was rolled over to this CIP.
That's what I thought.
120,000. We had held off on that because we tried to gain some additional value by putting them out all together, which we did. We got some good pricing. We're well within our funding amount, and so we're moving forward
Okay.
to award the slurry seal project.
I'm good, thank you.
Good, thank you very much. In that case, I'll accept a motion to.
I will
accept-
make a motion, we approve the consent agenda items for this council session.
I'll second it.
Madam City Clerk, if you'd take a vote, please.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Infante.
Yes?
Councilmember Arona.
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas. Absent. Mayor Uhrig. Absent. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you. Okay, let's go on to the business items then. Item number 5, Madam City Clerk, if you would address that, please.
Approve contract amendment with Santa Barbara County for law enforcement services for fiscal year 22-23.
Questions for staff? You're looking at me like you.
Well, I prepared a staff report. I'm obviously available for questions, but I thought I might give a quick summary of where we have been and where we are. As the council knows, the city contracts with the County of Santa Barbara for law enforcement protection services through the Sheriff's Department. We've been in a contract with the Sheriff's Department and the county for a period of 5 years. For fiscal year 22-23, the county presented the 4 contract cities, which are Buellton, Solvang, Goleta, and Carpinteria, significant cost increases. This is a little bit of deja vu, perhaps. They did this the same way in the last fiscal year as well. Ultimately, the city submitted a notice of protest under the contract about the contract costs. We entered into some dispute resolution procedures, went through a mediation, and ultimately came to an agreement in which the cities will be paying more than they had anticipated, but not as much as the sheriff had requested. So the proposed amendment number 2 represents a negotiated contract cost for Solvang, which is about $150,000 less than was originally proposed by the county, but it's $170,000 more than fiscal year 21-22. It is within the established budget, so the contract costs for 22-23 will be approximately $2.32 million. This is the last year of the agreement, and so the city managers and the city attorneys will be working on some type of new arrangement with the county. We're not sure what form that's going to take. That's not before you this evening, but just want to give you an idea of the road ahead. So the fiscal impact is $2,316,107 in fiscal year 22-23. And the recommendation from staff is to review and approve amendment number 2 between the city and the county. And if the city manager has any additional comments.
I have no further comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Council have any questions or comments on the staff report?
I just have a comment. Some of the most important things that the council does are things that people see the end result and they don't see the work that goes into it. And I think that, we were all shocked when this dollar amount was thrown at us because it couldn't be documented what we were getting more for the service. And the negotiations are not fun. We tried to save the city some money. We were kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, and so it's like the least amount of damage that you can accept, and I think we did a good job.
I would agree.
I'm not happy with it, but it could have been worse.
Could have been worse. Do I hear a motion to accept it? Well, we're going to have it, see if there's any public comment first. Anybody in public? Anybody in Zoom? Okay, in that case, if there's no further comments, can I get a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion, we approve the budget for the county sheriff for fiscal year 2022, 2023.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Infante,
Yes?
Councilmember Arona,
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas,
Yes.
Mayor Uhrig, absent, motion passes 4-0.
Thank you very much. Okay, and then we have item number 6. Please, if you would tell us about that one, please, Ms. City Clerk.
Appoint one committee member to fill vacancy on the Tourism Advisory Committee. Appoint the Tourism Advisory Committee member.
Staff report?
So this item is in front of you because there is a vacancy on the Tourism Advisory Committee. It's a vacancy of the appointee that has resigned, who was appointed originally by Councilmember Arona. The way that the committee is structured is that if a vacancy of the appointing council member becomes available, then that council member can reappoint somebody else. There was 2 applications received in response to Councilmember Arona's request to open the recruitment. So Councilmember Arona could either select one of those applications or any alternate person or continue this item.
Okay, thank you. So I spoke to both of the applicants, and they're both, very qualified. We're very lucky that we have people that have been in the tourism industry for many years, that have served in it in many capacities. So it's a very tough choice. And I would hope that even if they're not chosen, they continue to put their input on managing Solvang as a tourist destination. That being said, I would like to appoint Shannon Brooks as the newest member of the Tourist Advisory Committee.
Okay, I believe that takes care of it, doesn't it?
Yes.
Thank you. All right,
We don't vote on it.
No, it's just an appointment.
in that case, anybody have an AB 1234 report?
I just have one quick question.
Sure.
Their first meeting will be a week from Thursday, correct?
October 10th, I believe, is the date. Let me just double check really.
I thought it was October 6th.
October 6th, yes. October
Okay.
6th. At
We'll have 2 new
3:30
members
PM.
At that first meeting.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I have no comments, no further questions.
Well, I do have something to report. I did attend the Central Coast Community Energy Annual Meeting these last Wednesday and Thursday. The city of Atascadero has joined the 3CE. They are continuing to pull efforts and resources to provide clean energy to the Central Coast. And because I have been asked before as to how this is happening, well, this is by making investments from the revenue that customers pay into batteries and into renewable sources of energy. So rather than nuclear energy, which we still rely on heavily because the electric grid cannot supply the state of California without it at this time, they are investing in both wind, solar, and they are looking at offshore wind, which is rather than getting energy from the wind above the surface of air, they're getting it from the current of the sea, which is still in very early stages. And they're hoping that by having different jurisdictions buy into the program, that this is going to be possible. But there are a lot of challenges infrastructure is expensive. Many of these programs and new engineering, engineering resources are in their very early stages, and the supply chain continues to be a problem. However, the staff at 3CE is confident that they can reach their goals, and that is my report.
Thank you very much. Any other? In that case, we stand adjourned. Thank you. That's a record.